Understanding this can completely change your life. There's two parts to us as human beings, two major parts to us that are in absolute conflict within each other. We have what's called the animal nature, and then we have the supernature, or the spiritual nature. And those two things compete against each other. They conflict with each other, and they're constantly fighting with each other. So one of these comes from below, and one comes from above. So the one that comes from below is the animal nature. You could also call this the natural man, and the instinct, the natural behavior, the natural response, that comes from below. And it's very emotional. It's very animalistic. So it likes to defend itself. It's constantly self-centered. It's defensive, it's territorial, it's an animal. So it's like a beast. And it has these desires that always wants to have instant gratification, wants to feed itself. It's always hungry, and it's got desires and lusts and all those things. Whereas the supernature, or the spiritual nature, comes from above, and it's completely contradictory to that. It sees things in a much bigger picture. So it looks at things from above, from an aerial view. It looks down on the earth from above, the spiritual nature, or the higher nature, which is the supernature. And that looks down at things from a 30,000 foot view. And it sees everything as one big, united ecosystem that we need to be part of. So we have to look after each other. We make sacrifices for the greater good. So the spiritual nature seems to be contrary to the natural response. The natural response to things in life, for example, when we're confronted with a shortage, when we're confronted with things that put us into a state of fear or defense. So that's when the natural animal response comes into play. You know, we immediately want to defend ourselves when we come under threat. So the animal nature lets us down, and it lies to us. It's constantly saying, you know, I need to defend myself. There's a shortage, there's a lack. I'm under threat. I go into a state of fear, and I respond accordingly with my emotions. And we've got to conquer that. So one of the great lessons in life, and you'll find this in all kind of spiritual practices or religious practices, the great goal of life is to conquer that animal, that beast, you know, that fear-based response to everything, and overcome it with the supernature, or the spiritual nature, our higher nature. And the laws that apply there, that actually are the higher laws that come from a higher realm or a higher dimension, enable us to overcome those responses and those fears and those mechanisms, those defense mechanisms, with a higher law. And so that higher law is one of infinite abundance, one of infinite supply of energy, one of love and compassion and forgiveness, understanding. It doesn't need to defend itself because it has infinite source of higher knowledge and higher understanding of higher laws. And so this spiritual nature uses rationality, intellect, facts, common sense, greater understanding, the bigger picture. It sees everything as it really is. One way to identify this animal within is think of it as it's always wanting something, it's always desiring something, it's always seeking more for itself. It's very selfish in its nature. Those base emotions of hunger and lust and desire and all those things come from the animal nature. And so when we do a detox, when we do a cleanse, when we go on a fast, when we abstain from all those things that we could become addicted to, that the animal feeds on, we take control with our higher nature, with our spiritual nature. And that's when detoxing and healing, it's a bit like going to rehab, food rehab, or rehab from the world, we suddenly feel this higher power come into our body and into our mind, and we start to see things clearly, and we see the truth. We see things for what they really are. And this is the nature that comes into us when we fast, when we cleanse, when we detox, and we start to heal. Our emotions become pacified. We feel calm, we feel peace. The mind starts to feel centered and balanced and inspired. We get ideas, we get inspiration, we get guidance, healing from our higher nature. This is crucial to understanding how to advance as a human being. And I think that's one of the central understandings to all religions, all philosophies, all greater teachings and knowledge and wisdom, is that one fundamental truth, that we have to learn to overcome the animal within, the beast within, the basic natural response system that we have at the very basic animal level of our being. And we need to overcome this with our higher nature. This is why people find things, spiritual things, contradictory to our natural responses, such as love your enemies, forgive those who trespass against you. Those are great teachings. Those are teachings of our higher nature, our spiritual nature. And that's what we need to be seeking after and growing towards. I hope that's been helpful and you can apply it in your life, because I know it's really helped me, and it can really change the way you see the world and the way you respond to the world for your benefit. So have a great day. I'd love to hear your feedback and what you think, and if you can apply this, let me know.